Hello and welcome to the HealthBridge podcast. I'm your host, Holly B. Today I am speaking with Juraj Kocar. He is an entrepreneur focused on addressing real world health challenges through innovative solutions. He's the founder of Wyse Earth, spelled WYSE, a company dedicated to combating chronic inflammation with natural effective products. Wyse Earth combines adaptogenic extracts and honey to create solutions that are easy to use and backed by nature's healing potential. At the core of its offerings are adaptogenic mushrooms, known for their ability to support the body's response to stress and inflammation. This topic excites me on a few different levels. One, because it gets me back to my herbalist roots, and I get to educate you guys on what an adaptogenic herb is. And also because the clients that I work with are under that autoimmune umbrella. And what does that mean? It means they are dealing with stress and inflammation. Outside stress that is triggering inflammation, triggering flare ups, internal stress caused by inflammation in the system, which of course is also triggering and adding to flare ups. So, inflammation is a huge issue that we are always working on when we have an autoimmune condition like lupus or any other. We are going to get into, again, what is an adaptogenic herb? What is an adaptogenic mushroom? We are not talking about your standard edible mushrooms. Medicinal mushrooms or adaptogenic mushrooms are not typically not the kind that you're going to find at a grocery store and just add to your saute. These are not really edible mushrooms for the most part. They need a certain type of preparation to be made into medicine, and they are considered medicine. And again, no, we're not talking about magic mushrooms. We're not talking about any type of mushroom that is going to give you any kind of psychedelic effect. We are talking about mushrooms that have an overall anti-inflammatory and protective effect in the body. We will discuss, why these different mushrooms are so important for as a preventative medicine, but also how they can be indicated when you are working on current health struggles or health crises. We get into the co-founder's story and what actually spurred the development of these products in the first place. We talk about safety and how to take these products in a way that will benefit you. And it's a really interesting conversation. If you don't know anything about herbalism and you're not familiar with adaptogenic herbs, this is definitely one that you should listen to and something that you should really consider putting into your health repertoire. So, with that being said, let's dive into this conversation with Juraj Kocar. Juraj, welcome to the HealthBridge podcast. I'm looking forward to our conversation today to get me back into herbalism and educate our listeners on this specific side of herbal knowledge. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
So, how did you get into, well, we'll say medicinal mushrooms, but we're specifically talking about the classification of adaptogens, which I'll have you explain that category to our listeners and how it differentiates from magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Because I know that's a big question that comes up. But how did you get into just the health and wellness space to begin with?
Yes, that's a good question. And it starts around 2012 when my health started to, basically I started to be like sick in terms of I had high blood pressure, cholesterol, brain fog, and all of that. And it was because of my lifestyle. I was at a university student, studying for 6 years, not much sleep, lots of alcohol and fast food and all of that. But other, classmates were dealing with it pretty okay, but my body seems to be more sensitive. I started to feel like sicker and sicker. And when I went to see doctors, they just told me, yeah, you got blood pressure, cholesterol, all of this. So here are the drugs. And luckily, at that time I started to, awaken, sort of wake up. And when I asked them, okay, so how long should I take them? When I will be healed? And they said, no, this is for the rest of your life. So then that, got me thinking that this is definitely not what I want to do. And I need to do something with my life. So I started, a self-healing journey, a self-discovery journey, almost like a 2-year long, where I tried all of the supplements and minerals and vitamins you can think of, and not much was working until I really drastically changed my diet. And at that time, I became a raw vegan for about a year. But what happened was that in the first 6 months, all of the symptoms that I had basically disappeared. And I was really feeling like my mind was working really like sharp and everything. And then there was a transition and another 1 year, but I went through it. And eventually, like no blood pressure, good physical conditions, like everything. And after that, I felt sort of, that this is something that I would like to do, in terms of I would like to help other people as well on their journeys, because it was quite a journey, these 2 years of transformation. And I was studying IT, so this had nothing to do, like engineering informatics. So this had nothing to do with health and wellness, what I was studying, but I was pulled, and yeah, pulled to more to the health and wellness side, especially after this transition. And this so I had my like 9 to 5 job and all of that, not in the health and wellness space. But in 2019, I started my first health and wellness company in the US. It was with Somavedic, like a frequency recovery device. And since then, full time in this journey. And last year I started with Wyse Earth. But the journey was through, self-healing and self-transformation that got me on this path.
I noted that you started having all these symptoms during college years and I can so relate to this. We're just trying to be a normal college kid. You're supposed to be able to go out and party. You're supposed to be able to stay up late. You live on junk food, and that's just totally normal and how it is. And it's really frustrating when you can see everybody else appearing to go through that journey just fine without any side effects. But when you're sensitive like we are,
Exactly. Exactly. I was struggling with that hard, and I was like, damn, like they can drink even more. It's not that I was like that much into drinking, but they can drink more, do, more sleepless nights. And they just felt, even after years, it looked like nothing, nothing can really harm them. But now I know that it's just a question of time. Now at that time, I felt that a huge disadvantage. Now I know it's a big advantage, because you are sooner stopped like doing bad things, or eating things that are not, beneficial to your body.
absolutely. And to talk more about the food part of it, it took quite a while into your journey before you started actually shifting your nutrition and what you were eating. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, yes. I tried, the minerals and supplements for all various ones. I always was excited that yes, this is the one that will, fix all of it. And this took almost 2 years. But it was when I really changed my diet from one day to another, then the really fast transformation happened.
Yeah, I really just wanted to highlight that point because I think for probably all of us, or at least most of us, when we start down this health journey of trying to fix some really significant health problems, we start that search for the magic supplement, the magic vitamin pill, that magic protocol that's going to fix us and let us keep living the way we're living. And that just isn't the case. The whole point of that wake up call is to say, hey, the way you've been living does not support your health. Major shifts need to happen in order to thrive, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I was barely surviving, or I was surviving, but I realized that this is, I'm a young man and this is not the life, I'm imagining. I want to be, vital and happy and all of that. So yes, it's the food, the lifestyle, the water, the air, like everything.
Yeah. And the EMFs, you mentioned your
Yes.
previous business is to mitigate the Wi-Fi, all of the man-made frequencies that are
Yes.
actually affecting us. Dive into that a little bit. How did you start realizing that was actually an issue for you?
Yeah, so so the EMFs were not an issue for me, at least not that I was aware, but I knew at that time, around 2018, after all of the transformation and everything, that the environment has a big effect on our health. And so I started to dig in a bit, into water, the air, like everything, and then into EMFs. And I visited a friend of mine that had this beautiful glowing lamps sort of on the table. When I asked him what is that, he said like that, that's a Samovatic. It is emitting harmonious frequencies to mitigate the adverse effects of the EMF radiation, from Wi-Fi's and cell phones and all of that. And I I knew that that it's a great product, and that I would like to get it to as many people as possible. So that's how my journey and company being started in 2019, and it lasted until last year. So yeah, and we've yeah made like a great effect or impact in terms of the health, because we had so many great testimonials how people were finally able to sleep, or they were just their digestion improved or skin improved. So there we could see how the EMF effects are basically hurting us in one way or the other.
And I think, again, to go back to that sensitive person like you and like me, and I would argue like anybody in the autoimmune umbrella, which are the clients that I work with, we are more sensitive to things. We have to admit that, we have to realize that and accept it so that we can make shifts in our lives that will affect us positively with our health. And like you said, we're talking about stuff with our air, with our water, with the EMFs, all these different things that we don't think about and take for granted are really important in supporting our health on a daily basis. And so, something as simple as turning your Wi Fi off at night before you go to bed, or having one of these devices like the Somavedic in our home, in our space, wherever we're spending the majority of our time, can like the Soma Vedic might just look like something pretty that's sitting on your table, but it's actually has a potent effect and can actually mitigate some of the responses that you didn't even realize were coming from just having a Wi-Fi signal around you.
Yeah, definitely. And as you mentioned, like turning off, because yes, we can have devices like Somovedic and some other ones, but there are things that all of us can do, that doesn't cost anything. Like, for example, turning off the Wi-Fi router during the night because the sleep is the most precious time, like for our body to recharge and regenerate. So we really have to be mindful about like having a proper deep sleep and at least 7 to 8 hours, because you can do all the mindfulness and like a healthy lifestyle, but you get 1 or 2 sleepless nights or you don't sleep that well and you can feel it immediately. Your cognitive reactions are down by 30 or 50%. So we really have to protect our sleep.
I agree with that completely. I know that if I say have 2 nights in a row, like you were just saying, where I don't get optimal sleep, it sets me up for a chronic fatigue cycle or, getting run down, getting sick easily. So I have to be ultra sensitive to my circadian rhythm and, making sure my body is on a good schedule to set myself up for good sleep. And turning off the Wi-Fi has just been a more recent addition, but I do find that I do get a little bit deeper sleep when that is off.
Yeah, when I mentioned that the EMFs didn't affect me, well, at the beginning, it was not because of the EMFs, but why I started the company, but it was because all of that I knew. But currently, and I mean, in the last years, when when I'm on the phone, I always have it on a loudspeaker and I'm just used to it, even when I'm, I don't know, like outside or something, and I don't mind. But from time to time, when I need to have it like normally, like close to my ear, I can definitely feel it that after the call, I feel sort of like a pressure or some strange thing like going on in my head. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Super interesting. I've heard stories that I have not researched to look further into, but that there is a higher incidence of, I don't know if it's ear cancer or some sort of cancers that are focused on whatever side you hold the phone up to.
Yeah, definitely. And there are like various studies showing I don't know how many times higher probability of breast cancer when women have the cell phones, in their bra.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell all of my girlfriends if I ever see them doing that, get it out of there. Yeah. Well, let's transition into talking about the mushrooms. What is an adaptogenic mushroom for, I'm sure the majority of our listeners don't know exactly what that classification means.
Yeah, so it's a quite special and specific classification of mushrooms. And for a mushroom to be in the category of adaptogenic, they need to basically have 3 properties. They have to be non-toxic, non-specific, and they have to have normalizing effects. So non-toxic means that basically you almost cannot overdose with them. So they are like 99.9% safe. So and this is quite special because when you have medicinal herbs, you cannot take them like forever or all the time, for like a 2, 3, or 4 months. You have to take a break and then, like you can continue. But you can do this with the adaptogenic mushrooms, but you don't need to. And even in high dosage. So this is the first one, that they are non-toxic. Then non-specific effect. That means that, for example, you have like a painkiller, for your headache or a drug for your cholesterol or for your blood pressure or whatever. And that's like a specific drug for a specific health problem. But non-specific reaction means that the adaptogenic mushrooms work. They are these inflammatory, like killers, basically. Whatever is wrong in the body that has to do something with inflammation or chronic inflammation, they they are working on that, or they are basically helping the immune system. They are boosting the immune system to, fight of the inflammation. So they are not usually, they are not designed for one specific thing because they can improve the energy.
Really quick, Holly B here. I just wanted to interrupt the podcast to ask you for a quick favor. Can you take just a moment to like and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you are listening in on? It makes a world of a difference. And the reach of this podcast, it takes like literally under 10 seconds. So go do that right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And now back to the episode.
The focus, the sleep, and like lots of other things. So there's pretty wide spectrum of what they can do. They are not designed for this one specific thing. So that's the normalizing effect. And then, non-specific effect. And then there's the normalizing effect. So what that means that they work bidirectionally. For example, when you have coffee, it will give you this boost, but after the coffee you can, feel sort of a crash. But adaptogenic mushrooms, they can work bidirectionally. So they are putting your body into like a homeostasis in this natural flowing state. For example, when your nervous system is overstimulated, it will calm you down. And if you need a boost, it will, create that boost. And we are talking about, for example, cocoa or cacao, so in the morning, it will give you boost. In the evening, it will calm you down. So this is all of the adaptogenic mushrooms that all of the, general ones, not the general ones, but the most known one, reishi, chaga, cordyceps, shiitake, mitake, and all of those have to have these three properties. So non-toxic, non-specific, and normalizing effects.
And what differentiates why did you choose to work with mushrooms specifically as adaptogenics versus adaptogenic herbs as a whole? Things like Schizandra berry or, Asian ginseng, eleuthero, things like that. Was there a specific reason you're focusing just on the mushrooms?
So most of our products have these adaptogenic mushrooms, but also in our most current products, it's called Power, and we use the main ingredient is cordyceps, for the energy boost, and Asian ginseng. Also, to energy, blood flow, like hormones, libido, and all of that. So we do, in some cases, we use also herbs, but, wormwood or sweet wormwood or hawthorn or even ginseng. But so why we use specific herbs or specific adaptogens is that we have like a contact in China, like a traditional Chinese medicine master, where he is basically, our, well of knowledge and part of our R&D team. So when we are looking for a solution for something, we just tell him and he designs the blend for us. So that means he will put together the specific ingredients. And not only that, but also the specific ratio between them. So we know how many milligrams of each to how many milligrams of some others. So also the ratio is to have it right, the ratio between each individual ingredients is also something that has like a big effect on the potency. So we use, because my background is in IT and computers, and I've been through this journey, and I know how to build companies and, do the logistics and all of that. But for this specific knowledge that has more than 2000-year history, we are using people that really know like much more than we do, that are masters in this.
I so respect that. My background also is as an herbalist, and the knowledge base going back to Ayurvedic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine goes back thousands of years. And so I highly respect the practitioners that are deep into that knowledge. I also want to talk about the preparation of these mushrooms in addition to other herbs, but preparing this type of mushroom for a medicinal extract is not as easy as making peppermint tea for a medicinal benefit. There's a lot that goes into this, and it's not to say that a home herbalist can't make their own reishi extract or turkey tail extract. They certainly can if they study and, learn the techniques, but there's a lot involved. There's water extractions for certain elements, there's alcohol extractions. And so talk to us just a little bit about your specific extractions and, why they rise above some of the others in potency and efficacy.
Yeah. So I'll just share, because we haven't done this. There's also to the Wyse Earth company there, and products. There's also like a story that just will help answer your question. So last year, towards the end of the year, I was approached by my current business partner, Daniel. And so I'll just go a bit back. So when I was working with Samovedic, I had got that feeling that I want to do something, like even more impactful. And I found out about adaptogenic mushrooms. And I immediately, fell in love with there, as we discussed, the universal benefits and how safe they are, and that the world is starting to open up to them. So I started my own, minimal viable product, and then experimenting with something, doing this for a couple of months. And then out of nowhere, Daniel reached out to me that if I would like to meet, that he would like to show me something, but I didn't know him at that time. And so we met, and he put this jar of honey on the table and said, "Hey, Uri, like this is the product that we are selling in Czech Republic for almost 2 years, and it has amazing like healing stories and benefits." And I said, "So is that just the honey?" And he said, "No, that's honey infused with adaptogenic mushrooms." And then I said, told myself that this is interesting synchronicity, because no one knew that, in my mind, I'm already in the adaptogenic realm. And all of a sudden, someone approaches me with this ready product that is already doing like has a lot, like a great impact on the health of people, because he showed me all of the text messages and emails and the healing stories. So the synchronicity around the adaptogenic mushrooms was one super interesting thing for me, and I do believe in these things. And then he shared a story with me that his sister died of cancer unexpectedly, and that couple of years after that, he met a guy that healed himself from stage 4 cancer through adaptogenic mushrooms extracts. And then that was the only thing that basically he was doing, because the doctors told him this went too far. There's nothing more we can do for you. And he started to, study how was it done traditionally. And he, found out about traditional Chinese medicine, and he healed himself. So when Daniel found out about this, he, connected, the grief when his sister died to someone that healed himself, and they started a company together. And 2 years after that, he approached me that if I would like to help them bring the product to the US. So for me, it was like a no-brainer. And I said, I definitely want to do this. I want to, help you start this. So that's how the story of the Wyse Earth goes. And he was doing business before with China, and he has a really great business partner there. And when he told him, look, I would need to source like really high quality mushrooms. If like, do you know of someone? And when he got back to him, he said, you're quite lucky because the area where I live is one of the best areas where like people and companies are growing like the reishi and chagas and all of that. So they made a trip to the China. They've chosen a factory that is processing these mushrooms, and they are working with them since 1850, so for quite some time. And they have, as you mentioned, they have water extraction. They are combining like water extraction, alcohol extraction, like a ultrasonic extraction, and they have a special technique where they are doing the extract ratio is 25 to 1, which means that for 1 gram of the adaptogenic mushrooms, they take 25 grams of the from the fruiting body. So it's the industry average standard is about 8 to 1, so it's almost 3 times as potent. So we are sourcing it from China, but you know because some adaptogenic mushrooms, they grow only on the north side, like Siberia, China. Sorry for that. Like Finland, Sweden, and that. So we have this great supplier with a really high extract ratio. So that's where is one difference is this ratio with our blends. Then is the ratio between the each individual components. And then where this is a novelty is that we put them into honey, these extracts. And we know that the honey helps the delivery of the beneficial, things and beta glucans that are in the honey. So the honey, on top of everything, the honey is improving the absorption and the bio of the whole plant.
And honey is sort of traditional to some of Chinese herbal preparations as well. So, like that synergistic quality of it, it goes along with some of the, ancient traditions. And I love honey. So that makes me excited too. And you don't see many medicinal products like this that are taken that way. We're so used to taking, supplement after supplement. So this is, I think, also an easier way for people to take this medicine, and it makes it enjoyable too. And I imagine that you can also spoon it into maybe some tea or warm water, something like that, maybe even
Yes.
coffee.
Yes, I don't recall the Fahrenheit. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be below 107. I'm not sure. I know it's 48 Celsius, so like a warm tea or warm coffee. But yeah, as it's my daily ritual. I put it in my coffee because I just even before Wise Earth, I was putting honey into my coffee because I just stopped using sugar, even like a brown sugar. So I was using honey. So I'm continuing in doing that, but just using adaptogenic honey. But you can also put it into like smoothies and things like that. And because we have more than 30,000 customers, we have great feedback from families with children. And basically 100% of them just tell us how their children love the honey, that they cannot get any vitamins or supplements or anything like that into them. But with the honey, they just love it.
Well, you mentioned kids, and let's just talk about safety again for a minute. I know that, you say that the mushrooms, the one quality that they have to have is that they are non-toxic and safe. Does that go towards kids as well? I mean, can you actually eat too much of this?
So so the general, the general like safety recommendation sort of, and I see see this everywhere, like around the whole world, is that the children have to be at least 3 years old, and you can see that on any packaging of anything. So the same goes with my assumption is that they nothing would happen. They still would be safe. But from the law, you just have to have it there that children younger than 3 years shouldn't eat it. And but I do have an interesting, funny story with children because our jar, I don't have it here, but it's a 2 pound jar. So in one jar, it's pretty big and it's for 3 months. So you take 1 spoon a day. Uh, we had a lady calling us, and she was quite scared that she wanted to take her jar of honey in the morning, and the jar was empty, and she just bought it like a couple of days ago. And she found out that her two boys, like 8 and 9, ate the whole jar like during a movie. Like it was like 2 pound jar, like extremely, so and naturally she was scared because they are like high potency, adaptogenic mushrooms, and you're supposed to take 1 spoon for 3 months and it was gone in 3 hours. uh, but yeah, nothing happened. They just, were buzzed from the energy, from the honey, but they were like safe and well and everything. So this is, and you can't make this up. It's just such an like a nice confirmation that even, and we again, we really have amazing healing stories, even from health problems like cysts and cancer, and people take 1 or 2 spoons a day. So it's that strong. But even if you take it in one day, and small children have done that, nothing happened. So this just confirms the uniqueness of adaptogenic mushrooms.
I love that story. I love honey. I can't even imagine having that much honey in one sitting, but that's so funny. So, talk a little bit about each of your blends or each of your offerings. And can you give a little overview on the different mushrooms? Because they all have slightly different qualities, even though they're all, fall under that non-specific category. They each do have areas where they shine, right? For each
Yeah,
mushroom. So if you could give us an overview of that and then talk about your products, that would be awesome.
sure. So our first product that we made is called Longevity, and it's still our go-to product that and bestseller that I would recommend. And it's the it is the product that the intention behind it was when Daniel reached out to these traditional Chinese medicine masters was to put together a blend that would help oncological patients, whether they are going through a chemotherapy or some other ways they decide to pursue their healing journey, that this should help them on the journey. Because not many people know, but in Japan and South Korea, more than 70% of patients, the doctors prescribe them with the chemotherapy adaptogenic mushrooms. In Asian world, it is it is like medicine. It is something that you get prescribed from doctor, and they are like treating it like that. We just cannot say that here, but it's the, same ingredients, same, just different laws. So that's the longevity one. that was designed for this specific purpose. Then in combination with that, we have a smaller jar called the detox. And, as I mentioned, there's curcumin extract, there's black pepper, there's a sweet wormwood, and it's basically elderberry. And it is designed to, help you get rid of parasites and bacteria and all of that. And it tastes great, but it's so strong. And this is funny that you take it just for 1 month, but after a couple of days, when you take 1 spoon a day, you can smell the detox from your skin pores, even from, you can just smell it, how the body is going through it. I've never experienced this before, but you can really, really smell it, that the body is like, going through a stage of detox. So that's that. And then we have heart flow, which again, there are like 7 adaptogenic mushrooms, but plus there is hawthorn that's designed for cardiovascular support, to improve the flexibility of veins. And so, yeah, to optimize the cardiovascular support, the blood pressure, the cholesterol, and all of that.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in here and interrupt the program for just a hot minute. You know that I'm so passionate about this podcast, but what I'm also really passionate about is helping women with lupus minimize their symptoms, boost their energy so that they can indulge in life again. So if you are a woman who is struggling with lupus, who is sick and tired of being sick and tired, who's struggling to manage your flares, if you're finding that your lupus symptoms are just really getting in the way of you being able to live your life the way you want to, I feel you. I've been there myself and I felt the same way. And what I've found is that there are a certain set of health fundamentals that, once applied, will support you in your foundational health. They will support you in building and maintaining that energy, minimizing flares, and allowing you to, again, indulge in life and follow your passions. So if that is something that you are interested in creating for yourself, let's jump on a call together. I will walk you through the process that I use with my clients to get them from sick and tired to strong foundation of health by implementing my HealthBridge protocol. If this is something you're interested in chatting more about, I would love to talk to you. Apply for a free clarity call with me, and I look forward to getting to know you soon. And now back to the episode.
And then we have power, as we discussed before. And that's the one, based on, again, we have all of those adaptogenic mushrooms there, but the main ones are cordyceps, that is, designed for energy and improving, oxygen in the blood. And we have Asian ginseng that, is improving the blood flow, the hormones, and with some uneven libido. So these are, the main blends.
And so somebody just wants to start with one. You recommend the longevity?
Yes,
That's your
yes.
go-to.
If you cannot, decide on which one to go for, or if you have, well, if I don't want to say if you have some kind of health problem, because, we cannot do those claims. But yes, longevity would be the one to go for, because from the testimonials that our customers sent us, yeah, they just blown us away. And we are so happy that, when we read them. So that would be the one to go for. It's the most universal one.
And so for somebody like, I work with patients or clients with autoimmune conditions, that would be great for them, because inflammation, of course, is an
Yes.
issue with autoimmune conditions, and that blend specifically, probably all of them, but that blend specifically will help to address inflammation.
Yes, definitely helping with autoimmune. And even, because some people that have like cancer, they reach out to us, can I take that, because there's sugar from the honey. But I'll just give one example. It's not related to cancer, but to diabetes. One guy, he had diabetes and he still wanted to try it. And that's also, like immunity, chronic inflammation, and all of that. So he was putting 1 spoon of the honey into tea, and he was sipping the tea throughout the day, not to spike his blood, his like blood. I mean, sugar. And his wife called us 3 months after he started taking it, that he was able to lower his insulin intake by 80%. And
Incredible.
yeah. So it's super interesting, that honey, diabetes, but it has much more benefits than people could think, that they don't go together, but it's just showing that it can work out.
And so, just in terms of safety, obviously, neither of us are doctors, and we will always say to, discuss taking new things with your doctors. But in regards to, you said it's safe in large doses, as far as medical interactions with.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, you always have to, talk to your doctor when taking it. When And this is, was the general suggestion, safety suggestions are that I could find, that don't take adaptogenic mushrooms after a surgery or after a organ transplant, or when you are taking blood thinners, or, immune suppressive, like drugs that lower your immunity. So when you do that, you just like, then definitely double check with your doctor.
Okay, that's good, because I know, many autoimmune patients are on immunosuppressants. So dip your toe into that slowly and safely, but always in communication with your medical care team.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything that we haven't touched on yet about your products, or just about this whole adaptogenic mushroom topic that we haven't touched on yet? You want to leave with our listeners?
For me, they are just this, amazing, because it is like a food, and especially when you put it into honey. I would recommend like doing it as creating like a ritual out of it, because I don't want to, I was just attended just 2 days ago a funeral, like my grandmother died. And, you know, I realized that even before, but this just confirmed it, that I want to do like now as much as I can, like to prevent whatever preventative, diseases I can, prevent basically with the lifestyle, and especially adaptogenic mushrooms, because they have so many antioxidants. They are really the biggest fighters of inflammation. And as we know, the number one health problem in the US is chronic inflammation and all of those various diseases that come out of that. So whether you are like super healthy, or are on your healing journey, just give it a try, because it's tasty, it's powerful, I would say, and yeah, we just have amazing experience with it.
And the mushrooms, the adaptogenic mushrooms specifically, are good for lifelong use.
Yes, exactly. You can, yes. So for example, there's only the detox blend based on the herbs. You just take that for a month, and you need to do it. I mean, you can do it more often, but 2 or 3 times a year is enough. But the rest of our products, or blends, you can take every day. And, I'm taking it now for more than 8 months. I guess every day, sometimes even 2 spoons a day. And I have to say that it really works because I consider myself like a healthy person. I don't have any, any no, well, I don't have, there's nothing wrong with me as far as I can tell. But when I can see the difference, when there are sick people around me, when there's some kind of flu epidemic or something like that, I don't get it, or it just scratches the surface of me. So it's then when I can definitely tell the difference that it's helping.
And do you take more than one of your jars a day? More than one of your blends a day, or do you mix it up? Like, how do you like to do it?
I like to mix it up. I like to mix it up because to my surprise, they taste differently. They have different color and they really taste different. So they have this earthy taste. Some of them have this like a peanut butter consistency. And I like the taste of the detox blend. It's deep, it's super dark purple, and it's interesting. So each of them have their specific taste, and I'm just, you know, two of them are just I'm just like switching one day or the other.
Hmm. I love it. Well, I'm excited. I hope to try these products for myself soon, and I I highly recommend, people experiment with this and, do a jar for 3 months, see, reassess after 3 months, see how you're feeling, see what might have shifted. And I love that you mentioned, taking it just for overall immunity around, there's like a pretty gnarly flu virus cold thing that's been going around for the last month out here in San Diego. And, having that extra tool in your pocket to help keep, if you get it, keep your symptoms more mild is huge, especially because we never know what's coming down the pipeline. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with our listeners. And I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. One very last thing, if people, would like to get in touch, they can visit our website, wiseearth.com. It's WYSE Earth, like one word, wiseearth.com. And in the contact form, that form goes directly to me if they have any kind of questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jurai. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Well, I just love geeking out on anything herbalism. So this was, again, such a fun conversation for me to have. But I really appreciate, as I said in the episode, the length that they've gone to make sure that they have a very high quality, potent extract with their products. High quality. Actually, we didn't talk about the honey, but I know in researching his company that they also have a very good quality, locally sourced honey from a beef farmer who is absolutely passionate about caring for and promoting the health of bees around the world. Wyse Earth is based out of Czech Republic, which is where Uri was as we were speaking. He was home in Prague. And I love that they pay attention to sourcing honey from somebody with passion as opposed to where can we get the best wholesale honey from. Same goes with their mushroom extract. As he said, their extract is actually 3 times more potent than the standard mushroom extract that you're going to find in any of the other products that you will find on the shelves. And that's really important. Something that I learned working in the integrative pharmacy that I used to work for was that, quality varies widely from bottle to bottle, from brand to brand. And finding the brands and the companies that are in it really for your best health, they are the ones that are going to source responsibly and really pay attention to the whole journey from sourcing from product development to sourcing to actually getting that product in a bottle ready for you to take. And that is really something that I can see 100% sets these products from Wyse Earth apart from the standard offerings that you're going to find at Whole Foods or one of those other markets. I really encourage you to do some more research, check out wiseearth.com, take a look at their products, reach out to Uri through that contact form. As he said, all questions go directly to him and he will answer them personally. That's huge. Do you know how rare that is this day and age with trying to get answers from somebody who actually cares? Well, that's your direct source to asking and finding out answers to your questions around these products. So I encourage you again to do that, take advantage of that, and be open to trying some new things and adding things into your repertoire and just see. You never know until you try it, right? If it'll help or not. So thank you for listening to this. If you have any friend or anybody that you know that likes to learn about herbalism, likes to learn about preventative medicine or preventative self-care, definitely share this episode with them. I would really appreciate it. It gets this episode out further and educates more listeners. And that, again, is what this show is all about. It's about putting the power of choice, the power of knowledge into our listeners' hands so that they can make their own best decisions when it comes to how they approach their health. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next week on the next episode of the HealthBridge podcast.